All right, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of Coon Dog Talking Hunt. I'm your host, Joseph Matthews, and I'm here with the owners of A&W Rough Cut Kennels. Mr. Brent Weatherford, would you explain to us why this kennel is named what it's named?
This guy right here is the A, and I'm the W. Allen and Weatherford. That's how we ended up coming up with it. So it's been going on probably, I'd say we've been naming dogs that for at least the last 10, 12 years.
But in terms of the dogs that y'all have owned or your family's owned, the history goes back a lot further than 10 or 12 years, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
So the name's been there 10 or 12 years, but there's like a long-standing tradition of red bones in your family. And this gentleman here on my right is your uncle, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. So let's talk about how all this got started. Before we started rolling the camera, he mentioned the first time that he ever took you coon hunting, he was about 11 or 12 years old, something like that. So there's a bit of history behind the kennel, behind the dogs. I'm seeing pictures of dogs, on the walls and stuff. We've talked about them, during our visit. So I want to hear about when this family, y'all's family, got into red bones. What started that, and what got y'all into breeding?
Well, I guess that would be my dad. He loved red bones and had red bones, and I remember the time he took me to the tree where he carried me. So I was 5, 6 years old, So we've always had red bones.
In terms of years,
in the 50s.
50s.
I was born in 53, and before then, my dad hunted dogs, maybe just cur dogs back then, but then he got into the registered red bones, and at one time he had a 3-generation night champion living at one time, and that's something big back then, have a 3-generation night champion living. And he always loved the red dogs, and then I just got into hunting, loved to hunt, and then Brent came along, and actually I kind of got out of the competition hunting until Brent came along and kind of got back into it then. He was probably the reason why the Ghost Mo won the red bone days. If it wouldn't have been for him getting me back into it, I probably wouldn't have been at the red bone days at the time. So actually the Allen started back in the 50s and had red dogs ever since. I can't remember going too long without having a dog, a coon dog, my dad or myself, Then Brent took over, and I just kind of been following him. So just let him take over now. He knows more about the competition rules and everything now. Back when I hunted, it was kind of simple. Now it's changed a whole lot, And so Brent, you can tell what.
Well, I noticed this, the trophies that are behind you there, Mr. Weatherford. So that begs the question, who are the dogs that won those trophies? What are some of the special dogs that y'all have seen through the years?
Well, the Goshen Mo won the red bone days in 2005, and then Jolene, his female dog here, that won it last year, high scoring dog. And
so y'all have won as a family, y'all won National Red Bone Days twice.
And before that time, my dad placed high in the ACHA World Hunt, and also high in the very first autumn oak they had, like 7th overall when all the night champions, grand nights and grand nights hunted together, that was a big compliment to come in 7th when all dogs hunted together, but a lot of other wins, qualifying for the world, and a lot of plaques that went along qualifying. And
well, let's hone in on Goshen Mo, because I've heard him mentioned 2 or 3 times already. I bring it up. Hey, let's talk about some of these special dogs through the years, and you just keep bringing up Goshen Mo. So let's just stop right there and focus on Goshen Mo.
All right.
What style of dog was he? What did y'all see in him? What are the accomplishments that you made with him, so on and so forth? What are some notable things to bring up about him?
He became a grand knight, not just but hunting hunts, qualifying for the world, and which got him to be a grand knight, because I didn't competition him a whole lot. Probably that dog, if you looked in his records, you'd see where he wasn't in very many hunts You know, he wasn't every weekend going to hunt to make a grand night.
Right.
But he, in his pedigree, back in his pedigree, there's 2 other dogs back in his 3-generation pedigree that won the National Redbone Day. So he's got the breeding in him. But what made that dog was he was a competition dog. You could not wear him out. You could not wear him out. I don't care how hard you hunt him,
Lots
how
of
long
drive.
you hunt him. Yes. And just a tree dog, and when he treed, he had a coon, you know. And
I guess he was a very athletic dog, if you're saying you couldn't wear
athletic
him out.
dog, athletic dog. I remember the Redbone days, the 3 nights I hunted, he drove 125 miles. I treated him on the fence. That was me. But he was just competition dog, and really, he could have helped the Redbone breed, but I refused to breed to him because I was hunting the Redbone days, and zones. Campbellsburg had a zone hunt up here, you know, and I didn't want to get into breeding full with people, you know, so he's only bred to a couple times, you know. He probably could have been bred to some females that really could have helped the Redbone breed because of him, because of what he produced and just the dogs that he did have. And that's about all I can tell you. I got him when he was 17 months old. And
Who was Goshen Mo out of?
Goshen Mo was out of the old banjo dog. Hervance Banjo. That's the breeding on that side, you know. And his mother was owned by an Amish boy that Herb told me said just a good all-around coon dog.
Marlon Martin.
But he pedigree on the mother's side was coon dogs, you know. And he just had a pedigree in him and that's what I can tell you about him. You could not wear him out. I don't care if you thought you could wear him out. You was the one who's going to take a break. Hunt all night, all week, whatever.
You wore out before the dog did.
Yes, sir, buddy. Several times I took a break because I couldn't hunt any longer. And but he was just he was a competition dog. He could grab a tree just as quick as any dog, and run a track to catch. He could drive a track. He didn't fool with too much of old coon tracks, you know. Didn't much, but you take him north where there was coons, you know, he'd hold his home. I don't think there was ever a time I took him to a hunt that I didn't think I was going to win my cast. That's
Yeah, a lot of confidence.
competition dog he was. I felt like every time I put him in the cast, I was going to win my cast with him. I didn't though. Which, you know, leads are on, you get certain points and stuff, you know, but there's times he got beat by other dogs where he got beat, you know, but that was the dog he was. He competition hunt because what he was, you know, and you could hear him. He had a good mouth and good change over where you could hear him when he come on a tree. And usually he came on that tree, you could treat him on his first bark, his first mouth, because he wasn't going nowhere. That was it for him to stay.
He wasn't a dog that was going to sit there and locate around.
No, he just beat other dogs to the tree because he could run a track. I remember saying old Holly Parker told me when he had him when he was real young, and Holly might have hunted with some stuff, got him running deer, you know. And Holly told me, said he could run a coon just as hard as he could a deer. That's the exact words Holly told me. But he got sent to Schaefer's training facility, you know, and they broke him from running deer. But I think the dog maybe been with some stuff that got him running deer. But I called Schaefer training when I bought the dog, and they told me it was one of the easiest dogs to break off of running deer. And after that, I never had no issues with him running deer. Just no deer. He was
Got straight pretty quick, learn fast, had a lot of tree in him.
Just go hunting. What he would do, you know, you turn him loose, he'd go hunting.
Best part about him in a cast is he didn't pay attention to nothing.
Yeah.
He did his thing.
So did you ever handle Mo, Goshen Mo? So tell me a little bit about your experience handling him in competition, Brent.
You didn't have to worry about him. He was going to get a high-end strike, and when he got straddled the track, he was going to get upper end tree, if not first tree. And most usually, he'd be by himself some, unless something else come to him. He wasn't a dead loner, but the way he operated, he hunted for himself. He wasn't going over here to check this or check that.
So if he was on a tree with another dog, either a dog come into him after he had treed, or if he was second tree, he checked, made sure the coon was there. He wasn't just going to bark because they were barking, is what you're saying.
He wasn't your type of dog who's going to locate around. He
come tree fast.
Yeah, if he come in there and run a track and located the tree, it didn't take him long to move on. He wasn't going to hang on something. He'd locate, get up, move on. But when he decided to tree, it was over. You'd have to step back and wait on him. You didn't have to do any of that. You could just tree.
Yeah. He'd grab a tree and he'd have a coon. Like I say, the big difference between dogs, but what made him such a good competition dog was, you get into the third night of Redbone days, he was just as strong on that Saturday night he was on the Thursday night. He didn't know. I guess he couldn't feel pain, I guess, He didn't know what pain was. And
he was pretty young when he won Redbone days.
Yeah.
He wasn't.
But then what hurt the dog was he come down with Lyme disease. And Brent could tell you when he come down there, I'd take the top off the box, get him out of the box. And that really hurt him. But he came on after that to have maybe 3 wins after that to be a grand night. But that really hurt him, slowed him down. And that was, I think he was...
That was it. That was at the height of everybody starting to have all the tick-borne stuff.
Yeah.
And
he was...
they didn't know what it was altogether at that point,
He was before his 4-year-olds when he come down with that Lyme disease. And hot weather would bother him at times. If you went to competition hunt with him, you got him out and you got to hunt that 2 hours and you didn't have to bring him back in and load him up. Then when you got him out, he was stiff. But when I was telling you about it being a competition dog, not wearing him out, that's before he got the Lyme disease. After he got the Lyme disease, it took a toll on him,
Set him back.
But he lived to be 12 years old. And I hunted him up until he was 10 years old. Not hard after he come down. But the Lyme disease reoccurred on him 2 years after that when he was 6 years old. And that's when it really took the toll on him. I just now thinking about that. When he was a 4-year-old, he came down with the Lyme disease and got over it and did well, hunting. But then when he was 6, the Lyme disease reoccurred on him, and that's what really took the toll out of him. That's when the competition stopped with him,
And you mentioned earlier that for a while there you weren't breeding him because you was busy competition hunting, but he did get bred, and he produced Grand Night Champion Vickers Red Moe, correct?
Yes.
And Brent, you're the one that made that cross, correct? So tell us a little bit about that cross, the breeding behind it, why you made that decision.
So I had got a hold of Larry Walker, and he made that cross with Freak. I can't remember, on Banjo 3. And so I got a female pup off of that. And of course my mindset was, double up on Banjo and get a shot.
Let's stop right there. Why double up on Banjo?
Banjo 3 was a nice dog. They were a little bit different style. What few times I got to hunt with Banjo 3, I don't think he was as open as Moe, but he was just as much a coon dog as Moe. He wouldn't have won all the stuff that he won. But anyways, my mind was mixing that together, doubling up on it, and then adding Freak to the shot, in there, see what happens with it. So got 2 pups out of it. It's frozen semen cross. 2 pups was my fault, working, and I had to go.
Missed the ovulation cycle?
Missed it a little bit early. God actually did it too early. Dean Beitzel did the cross for me, and he told me, you need to wait till tomorrow. He said, or late tonight. And I said, Dean, I ain't got no more time. She'd already been up there 3 days. And so I went up on a Sunday evening late, and he bred her as late as he could breed her, and we just ended up with 2 pups. And so I kept the male, and the little female, she went over to Holly Parker's house. She really didn't turn out very well. She was a real small dog. I don't know if that was just what reason, but she wasn't a very big dog. Gritty, but in terms of having the mouth and everything you'd want, the qualities for what was going to be in a coon hound. She really didn't have that. But little Mo, he turned out pretty well. Pretty active, energetic pup, wanted to tree. He did okay. We had a little break-in session we had to do with him as well. He got after some deer a little bit. Wasn't bad. We got him broke off of it. Got him up to a win within night champion. I had Jolene setting coming, and I made a decision to sell him. Ricky Vickers bought him. Finished him out the grand night. I hunted him a couple times for Rick, different hunts, and we actually, before I sold him to Rick, we had that pup hung up in Illinois, and it was Little Mo, Shot, Queenie, and I cannot think of that dog's name from down there in Kentucky right now. You have to ask Ricky that. He can tell you what that guy's name is. I can't think of it right now.
But it was a good, really good all red cast.
Yes, it was. Yep. Wake Wheeler helped set that up, and Marshall Coon Club put it on up there in Illinois, and it was really a good turnout for that. And a lot of good young dogs that had made a mark in the red bone breed in terms of showing some wins and stuff were at that hunt. That's had success over the years.
Couple things. One, I got a question. Y'all still have straws on Goshen Mo, or was that the last one?
We actually used the last one last year on Queenie, and it didn't work. Didn't take.
Oh man.
Yeah. So
that's gone forever.
Yep.
Wow. The other thing I was going to bring up is Ricky actually came down and hunted with Chuck. They hunted Mo and Dottie. This has been several years, 2 or 3 years ago, something like that. And Ricky Vickers went back up to Kentucky, left Mo with Chuck, and Chuck realized something was off about him, thought he might not can see very well, and took him to a vet and got him checked out and found that he was 90% blind. So I don't know how long he was that blind, or had his sight impaired at all. But it is believed that he finished the grand night with the majority of his sight missing.
Yeah, I was going to say, the timeline's right. If I'm correct, you'd have to ask Rick. I think he was already a grand night at that point.
Was he already a grand night at that point?
I think so.
Do you know if his sight was deteriorating towards the end when he titled him?
So when I sold him, there was, it would have been his left eye. It was already messed up. I mean, it didn't shine like the other one, and Rick knew it. But I think the other one started deteriorating on Rick as well, or Chuck found out about it. I don't know. Can't tell you why or what. Don't know. But Ricky spent some money on getting it fixed.
Yeah. From my understanding, at least there towards the end, towards getting him the grand night, we don't know how much of his sight was missing at the time, but it was deteriorating. Like even you just said, he still had one more hunt for night, and you could tell one eye was kind of off.
It
was different. So you talking about having to use your nose?
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving through the woods. I wonder how many things old Mo bumped into out there.
Well, I can tell you, he got to the point, and just hunting him before I sold him, he never did like having to go in through something he couldn't see a hole.
Right.
I mean, like if you.
So he showed early signs, and now that you look back, hindsight's 20/20. He kind of showed early signs of his sight going when he was a lot younger.
Yeah. I don't know how much younger. I mean, I sold him when he was 3.
Okay.
But anyway, I can remember, after that happened, I'm thinking, maybe that's the reason if you cut him through grass that he couldn't see, stand in horse weeds or something like that, he'd always try to skirt and go down to the riverbank and run the riverbank and not go through that grass. Stuff like that.
Going places he could see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We definitely had to use the nose for sure.
For sure. Yeah.
So let's go back to that high-powered red cast, where it's Mo and Queenie and Shot, and then the one that you can't think of right now.
Yeah.
If that dog comes to mind later, bring that dog
For some
up.
reason, Crowbar is what's ringing my mind, but I can't remember if that's the name of the guy or if that's the name of the dog. But anyways,
But in that cast, you got to see a dog called Indiana's Freak Shot,
I did.
which is out of Royce Taylor's Turbo Dog and Adam Lundy, She's a Freak,
Yeah.
female, who was #1 on the reproducers list for like 6 or 7 years in a row.
Yep.
So you got to see that dog operate, and you were impressed.
Yep.
So, you know, we talked about that on the phone months ago. So what impressed you about Shot? What did you see? Because he didn't win that cast, did he?
He did not.
He did not, but you were impressed by him. So tell the viewers what impressed you about Indiana's Freak Shot and why you decided to later get a pup out of him.
Well, the main thing I seen was repeat. I mean, the cast, I don't remember if it was a 2-hour cast or 1-hour cast, but once we cut loose from strike, track, tree, stay, and repeat it on a recut, he did that probably better than any dog in the cast that whole night. You know, those are the traits that you got to have when you go to a competition hunt that hold true for everything that's going on. It's repeated again and again and again, and at a year-old dog in that cast, he by far was the most consistent dog to go out there, strike, track, and put a tree up.
So you're big on consistency.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Say that you can choose between these two dogs, and one of them operates at 100%, 50% of the time, and the other operates at 90% every time. You taking the 90?
Are we talking about on those 4 traits in terms of strike,
Yes.
track, tree, repeat?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to take the 90.
You're going to take the more consistent dog that may not ever just blow you away, but every time you cut it loose, it's the same dog. You believe that's going to be your better dog in the competition.
It don't matter where I haul that dog or where I cut that dog loose. If he shows you every time that you take him someplace that he's going to do that, there's not anything affecting that dog. He's not worried about other dogs. He's not worried about where he's going hunting at. He's not being particular whether or not he likes his spot or whatever. I can't deal with them kind of dogs. I don't like them.
So was that, back to Shot, was that the only time that you ever hunted with Shot?
That was the first time I hunted.
That was the first time that you hunted with him after that, and you seen that level of consistency in him, correct?
Yeah.
So I understand your Jolene female that you won National Redbone Days with last year is directly out of Indiana's Freak Shot, correct?
That is correct.
So tell me how you acquired Jolene.
So in terms of Jolene, I'm not sure where her mother actually came from. I know she came out of Illinois, but I don't know who had her. And so her name was Tyza Izzy. And so
Who went back to Cali, correct?
she went back to Classy Lady,
Who's out of Cali?
who's out of Cali, but
Right.
Tyza Izzy is a litter mate to Parker's Queenie.
Who was a phenomenal
Yeah. And so
competition female, yeah.
got a hold of Mike, acquired her. I bought her off Mike, and we made the cross because basically the way that it bred, you know, Izzy and Queenie both were off of Classy Lady and Dano. At that point in time when we made that cross, you know, Dano was getting older, but I mean, Dano had showed out and won quite a bit over the years.
I think when I interviewed Casey Dooley, if I'm not mistaken, he said he won 167 casts.
Yeah.
That's smoking.
Yeah. And so the other thing that you were getting when you done that was you're doubling up on Ghost.
Who's a very good reproducer of competition.
Yeah. And so based off of that, Shot being off Turbo, you go back to Ghost. And then when you come in on Dano, you're going back to Ghost. And so that was a way for me to double up, get back in on Royce's line, still keep some of Freak in there through Freak Shot. And then what I saw Freak Shot, you know, good enough.
So you mentioned doubling up on Royce's Ghost Dog. Earlier you mentioned doubling up on Banjo when you made the cross that made Little Mo.
Yeah.
So you believe that makes an impact. When you make a cross, oftentimes you're going to try to double up on a certain dog or a certain line of dogs that you like. You believe that's going to give you more consistency or predictability in what that pup's going to be? You trying to duplicate a certain dog? Am I kind of hitting on something there?
Yeah, I mean, if you've got a dog out here that's showing up repeatedly in other dogs, right? And it produces some type of a winner. Whatever they're doing, I mean,
You want to stack them in there.
why not? And I mean, and then when you look at that cross outside of the male dogs, when you were referencing doubling up on Banjo and then doubling up on Ghost, you got to think about what females are in there as well. I mean, you're going back, you've got Freak in that cross, you've got Callie in that cross, you got Classy Lady in that cross. Well, in between Freak and Callie, I don't know what year I'd have to go back to where it started for them being high winners, but between those two, to be ignored and not be bred to, or have the opportunity to be bred, I didn't see any reason to go away from it. I mean, why not go to it?
Right.
You know, and the bad part about it is I waited too long to do it.
So let's talk about the females for just a moment, Brent. Do you think one of the problems, not just in the red bone breed, but any coonhound breeds, you think one of the problems is that people overlook females too much? They pay too close attention to the stud dog and overlook the females? You think that's an issue?
I do. I think, you know, if you look back over the years, I don't know, I'm sending home a bunch of red books with you, but I mean, I'm a short timer compared to a lot of the guys that's been in the breed, and if you look at some of the females that's won red bone days, we just had one win last night, and I don't know much about her, but I think she goes back to Lightning.
The Calamity Jane.
Yes, sir. But where I was going at with it is I don't feel like our breed has concentrated on those females. I think Kate, and I can't speak much past Kate because I do remember a female by the name of Dixie that was supposed to be really nice. Bad part about it is I don't know where any of them pups went. I know where a lot of Kate pups went. She got bred and they went into a lot of hands, Brent Peel and the Biggards. You know, she got used really well. There were other females that came after her that I can really speak of. Prior to her, I really can't speak on the females that was out there, but you know, you had Toady in terms of two females that actually got bred. They both got bred some, but we had some other good females during that time frame that may not got utilized like they should have. I mean, you got Jackpot Jackie, it placed 4th in the World Hunt, and I know that she was bred to Turbo, but I don't know if she was bred any other times after that. And then you look at Callie, you know, I don't know if she was bred once or twice or what, but I mean, you're looking at females that, you know, have got a winning background, and you know, the Walker breed has made a living on concentrating on breeding the winners. And I think we've concentrated on the male side. I think that we've concentrated on a couple females in the red side, but I don't think we've utilized all of it well enough.
Kate's notable, Freak's notable, as far as producing multiple litters with multiple stud dogs.
Yeah.
But overall, you're saying that the females in the red bone breed, the good ones, are vastly underused.
The one guy that I will give credit to based off using females would be Richard Lambert. I've not had but one here that would go back to some of the stuff that him and Jared Hutchinson did. I had a little female here called Hope. She was a nice little dog, placed in Autumn Oaks with her, and you know, I ended up selling her. She didn't have a whole lot of independence, but in terms of a competitive dog, she was definitely that, 100%. But Richard, out of everything during the time that I've been hunting, has spent a lot of time crossing back, and he's got a line of females that he can draw a line to that he's went back through over the years. You know, I think Jared's Fancy's dog is possibly some of that. So, you know, we had some females back in there, but we've not been good about utilizing our good females, I don't feel like.
Well, there's a possibility that, you know, the guy had a nice female, he wanted to hunt it, you know, once you breed her, that's, in pups, you take her out of the hunts.
You do.
And that could have hurt. You talk about dogs that's not bred enough, a guy goes to hunt, he wants to win, so if he's got a nice female, he probably not gonna raise a bunch of pups out there because he goes to hunt, with her, That's just me thinking,
Well, you brought that up, and I was actually about to ask a question that would have brought that up. So, with Jolene, last year's National Redbone Days winner, she's a nice dog. You feel like Jolene has the potential to help the breed. You've hunted her, you've had her in some hunts. She still hadn't, granted, she probably could have a long time ago, but you've bred her multiple times. Right now, she's ready to cut. We'll talk about him before this podcast is over. You bred her to Straws on Ranger, correct? That was Brushbuster's full brother. Mm-hmm. You bred her to, didn't you breed her?
That's only correct.
Okay, so it's those 2 times, and you're planning on breeding her to Straws off Wade's Big Red.
That's correct.
And how old is Jolene?
Jolene just turned 5.
Jolene just turned 5. She's already been bred twice, and you're already planning that 3rd cross. So here's the question I want to ask you, Brent, and this is especially for those that are out there that maybe are starting a kennel, starting a breeding program, or maybe they've been breeding dogs for a long time but need a little bit of advice about a female. Let's say there's somebody out there watching this, and they believe that they have a female that can help the breed. They're not just saying it. It's the truth. It's a nice female. Maybe she started naturally as a pup. She's got all the right traits. She's bred well. She comes from reproducers. Where do we strike that balance? Because this is something that your uncle was just bringing up. You don't win enough, you can't get the pups in the right hands. You spend your whole time hunting, she don't get bred enough. So where do you think the balance lies in hunting her and proving what she can do in the woods and producing pups off of her? Where do you think that balance is?
I don't know. My mind says is you can't hurry it. You can't speed up trying to finish a dog and still try to raise pups out of a dog. I mean, some guys can go to a hunt every weekend and they might finish one out in no time. That's not me. And that plays a factor based off who you are and what your expectations are in terms of what you want to do with this dog, right? A good dog for a female in the red bone breed, in my mind, is hard to come by. That's just my opinion. That's not trying to step on anybody's toes, but I feel like I've got a decent female. I think there's things that she could have added to her, just like any other dog. There's not a perfect dog out there, but that balance is going to come on that guy individually. I mean, is he more die-hard in trying to just win and move on with another dog and then sell that dog? Well, you don't see that happen often in our breed, right? You see it happen in other breeds. Is he the guy that's going to raise pups off that dog and hunt her in between? That's kind of what I'm doing. I don't know what that balance is. I don't know what to tell somebody to do going forward with that. That's a hard one. If I knew that answer, I think we'd be a whole lot better off, but I don't have it.
Do you think a lot of people probably struggle with that balance? It is tough, ain't it?
I'm gonna say that's a perspective on the way they look at things versus struggling with it. I mean, for them it may not be a struggle. For me, I'm still working. I ain't retired. My kids just recently left the home not too long ago, so I've been freed up to be able to hunt a dog right. Yeah. So I don't know how to answer that one. I'll be honest with you. That's to each your own.
But you do believe that the lack of good females being bred is a problem in the red bone breed?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say bred, but I'm gonna say underutilized females that are proven, ones that can win. I feel like we still concentrate on the male dog primarily. I will say that. That's just me.
You got male dogs out there that end up with 100 or 150 pups on the ground, but then you got a female like Jackpot Jackie, and you can only think of one cross that was made on her.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a second cross, don't know, but you can only think of one. And that's, I mean, she placed 4th in the world hunt. She should have definitely been bred more.
Right. And I mean, whoever had her, maybe it was their choice that they didn't want to breed her. I mean, you know, that's the game.
I'd say she was hunted a lot at hunts.
Absolutely.
So you can't hunt a dog, pups on her, you know, and have her in shape. You know, Brent here, myself, we not going to take a dog to a hunt if it's not in shape. I mean, it's just hard on the dog, you know, and you're just fighting things against you, you know, if your dog's not in shape, you know. So that goes back to females that people that is to what I feel like, you know, they like winning in hunts. We do. We like to win, but we take our loss. We've had them, and some tough ones. And but as far as females, you know, you get a real good female, the guy he's going to hunt her in hunts. Some of these real good females has been hunted in hunts a lot, not just the red bone days. I'm talking about hunts, qualifying for the world stuff. You can't do that with her pups on her, you know.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Right now, my mind's thinking of those kind of females that's been utilized that way, and the first one that's going to come to my mind is Cookie. She's been bred, she's been hunted, she's been campaigned, she's been all of it back and forth, and she handles it, you know. And Justin Davenport and them have done really good with her. And you know, I'll probably never be at that level and trying to be able to do that and travel that way to hunts and stuff, but I will get Jolene finished grand night, depending on what she does after these pups. I'll get her back in shape. We'll get back in the woods, see what we can do. But you know, you look at some of those females that's been utilized both ways, they're benefiting the breed. There's some good pups out there off Cookie.
Yep. So, yeah, so you were just bringing up how, you know, you put your female down when you breed her. Well, Brent, you just sure enough made application of that, because Jolene's out of shape. She's got puppies in her right now. You went to National Red Bone Days, which you won it last year. You go this year, and on Thursday night, you realize I don't have a shot because my dog's gassed.
Yep. Yep. Under 3 weeks prior to, got some weight off, and it wasn't enough.
No.
You know.
But you're looking out for the future.
Yeah. No. It is what it is.
Well, yeah, you never know when you're going to lose a dog. You got a real nice female, you know, and you think, well, dude, I like to bring set of pups out of her, you know. But then you also like to go to hunts too, you know, so it balances out which way for a person, you know, how he feels, how he wants to do. Me, not to repeat myself, I just think there's a lot of quality red bone females that can win in hunts that don't get bred because they just can win in hunts.
Yeah.
And competition handlers, paid handlers, likes to win, you know.
Yeah.
So that, to me, that's probably taken away from the red bone breed. And the real good females raising a lot of pups out of them, you know.
Well, since we're talking about good females, let's hone in on Jolene right now. So what style, we talked about her breeding, what style of dog is she?
Track the tree.
Go hunting.
She'll go hunting, she's going to strike a track, she's going to take it to the tree. She's not a wind dog. I can probably count on both hands how many times she's ever winded a coon.
And I've understood that she's got a pretty good mouth.
Oh.
She does.
Oh, yeah.
She's probably got a pretty decent mouth for a female.
Somebody told me last year that he drew Jolene in a cast and said that Jolene was the loudest red bone female he had ever heard in his life. And the man's been handling since the 80s.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll take that for her, but she's got a good mouth. That's pretty steep with me.
That's just what I got told.
You hear?
And he also said that she's got one of the loudest mouths of any red bone alive today, male or female.
One of her pluses too is the kid can call her when she comes on the tree. I mean, when she comes on the tree, she's tree, and she's there to stay.
Yeah. And normally has a coon.
Yes.
Pretty accurate.
Yes. Go hunt too.
She is a track to tree type dog. Like I said, if you cut her loose, you're gonna see a track ran from point A to point B.
She's bred well. She's consistent. You believe that she can help the breed, but you mentioned earlier that there are some things that you would like to see added to her. So what are those things, Brent?
I'd like to add a little wind tree into her where you get a little bit of balance, cut her down an edge, fall tree right in there pretty quick type thing. But her style, she's hunting for a track. That's her style. And
Do you think it's very important to breed her to a male dog that you believe will throw those traits?
To look just for a dog to win tree, I think that's, specifying one thing, but if I can look for one that does have that along with, other things that match up to her. For example, I don't want to breed anything that's got a weaker mouth than her. That's, I've been trying to get a mouth for years, in the crosses I made, and, I don't want to breed down on mouth, so I want to breed equal or better. And, if that dog's got wind treeing capabilities and he's a little shy on track, I'll take that, because I feel like she can make up with the track part of it in the litter. Now, granted, you're probably going to get some mixture of pups. Some of them's going to get the track, some of them's going to get the layup, and then you might get one or two that gets the balance.
You're really looking for that balanced pup.
I'm looking for one that's going to stay consistent.
So let's talk about that first cross you made with her. You went to a dog named Ranger.
Yep.
So and it was it was a straw breeding, wasn't a live breeding. Ranger's been dead for years.
Yep.
So what made you want to breed the Ranger?
So for me, he had a dog called Engine Red, was directly off the old Brush Buster dog that Kevin Shirley and Butch Roeder had. I believe he come out of Marshall, Illinois.
Is this that dog on the wall right here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him.
So this is Engine Red here I'm looking at.
Yes, sir.
So y'all can go on and talk about him.
So, in terms of one of my favorite dogs to competition hunt, independent, consistent in terms of what he's going to do every time you cut him loose. He's not going to be with dogs. You can cut him loose in a pack or a turn loose in a cast, and he was going left, he was going right, or he's coming right back to the middle of the cast. You didn't have to worry about gambling on strike with him because he was going to identify himself somewhere else away from everything else most usually. So,
And you had plenty of time to tree because he's going to be by himself. You didn't have to rush on him, but he would grab a tree.
he was the style of dog that the competition hunts have been for the last 10 years to 12 years, I'll say, where everybody wants to be off by themselves. He was that style of dog. I don't know how long has that been, 18 years ago since we had him, at least. And he's a dog that you knew what he was going to do when you cut him loose, right? And so expectations in terms of that, it makes it very easy on a handler. When you go to the woods and you know that, and I hunted him during a time before we ever had Garmins, and you didn't have to worry about pulling out your tracker beat to see which direction he was until it was the end of the night, because you could count on whatever way everything else is, he's going to be somewhere else, and you just need to get a direction to listen off to that direction because he's going to come treat somewhere.
And he had a mouth where you could hear him. I mean, that's one thing. But one of the things about that line of breed, and I'm pretty sure I've hunted some of the dogs in that line of breed, you don't have to kill coons for him. This dog here in the winter months, when he got to be 4 years old, I'd tree as many 20 to 30 times before you shoot a coon out to him. You did not have to kill a coon for him to get him straight tree and tree all night. That's that line of breed. When we found the Ranger dog, that he's a litter mate to the Buster dog, and how we was from different individuals telling us the type of dog he was similar or the same as the old Buster dog. So man, I thought, God, I gotta have that pup. I gotta have that pup. They got good mouths on them. They like to stay treed, get treed, stay treed, and they don't run trash. I got a young dog out of Jolene right now. He's 2 years old, 10th of October. He's never fooled with off game yet. Tomorrow night he might hit a deer and leave the country. But as of now, they're just strictly tree dogs. And that was where the Ranger dog come in there. What he could throw.
We actually got lucky and tripped over at talking to John Ingram at Autumn Oaks. That's probably been 2 years ago. we tripped over that. We didn't even know anything existed that went back that far. And come to find out, Ranger and old brush buster were litter mates, so as close as we can get to it.
The other, their number was one number off on their papers. So come find out, yes, they was litter mates. And not to repeat myself, but that Ranger dog, big time hunters that hunts, so told us about him, that what he would do, you know, how he would do it, how he'd operate on it. Gosh, that's just like the old Buster dog. And Buster was bred to, the old Buster dog was, every female he bred to produced a night champion or a grand night. He wasn't bred to a whole lot of dogs, but just dogs that get treed stay treed. That's why myself talked Brent in somewhat. Man, you want an independent dog, there it is. Maybe, you don't know, but it looks like that might be what we're going to have here. This A&W Red-Bone Kennel with another dog that's independent.
Yeah.
I'm talking about independent. I mean, when we went to hunt several times, you know, the guy would say, well, I know a guy buy him, well, he gets treated by himself, you know. I said, well, he ain't for sale. He's not for sale. I can't replace him, you know. And Brent hunted him, hunts and hunted him, and he just, when you turn him loose,
we made him a night champion under 2, and in that winter when he was 2.5, that's when he ended up getting run over.
yes, and that was a sad day for that dog. And that's when I went searching and found the most Doshimo dog, and Herb Vaughn had him in northern part of Indiana. But go back to the Jolene breed to the Buster dog, it's just that independence, you know. It's what more people like to have that in hunts now, you know, that independent stuff. We might have it back now. It's like I said, we got lucky and found out that male dog, you know, didn't know there's a dog in the country that straws in that line of breed. But all the dogs that came out Buster was tree dogs.
Tree dogs is independent.
Independent, you know. But the Indian Red Dog had a real nice mouth. I hunted in the, qualified him for the world, you know, and he got treated in there, and the guys was a judge, like, we can move away because we can hear him. A good mouth on him, you know. But some of them pups didn't have real good mouths, but Jolene has put the mouths in that pup. And the other pup that Brent has here, they got mouths on them. You ain't gonna drown them out. But they're just young dogs. You don't know a year from now what they're gonna be, you know, but they're looking like they're gonna be something that's gonna stay in this kennel.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Jolene's bred again,
Yeah,
and you decided to go with a half-brother, half-sister cross,
I did.
and you're doubling up on Indiana's Freak Shot.
I am.
So explain to us why you made that decision.
Well, going back to getting Jolene as a pup, you know, why go away from it? You know, Shot, in terms of a young dog, to be that consistent that night and then hunt with him after the fact, going up there and hunting with Mike's and watching him. There's no sense in going away from it. You know, everybody knows me. I'm not afraid, and I'm not worried about the outcrossing stuff. That stuff does not bother me. You know, all of our dogs come there from one point in time or not, and
Outcrossing, you're talking about X-breeding.
yeah,
Because the half-brother that you bred Jolene to is out of Shot and a Walker female.
yeah. Richard Zook made the cross on Shot with a lady female, and I ended up getting a young male. I think Randy Ficken had him, and I ended up getting a hold of him. He was lightly started, worked with him. He had a really, really good mouth, which is a key factor for me. He was a real nice, active, young dog when you would take him hunting. He didn't know a whole lot about, you know, finding his own coon at that point in time. Spent some time with him. Got him where he could run and tree an easy coon. And one of the older gentlemen I hunt with, Lynn Jordan, he took him and hunted him because I was working with Jolene at that time. And this past winter, I watched that male pull up and tree coons in front of her 3 different times and do a good job with it. I mean, there wasn't no guessing about it. I mean, they both, you know, struck a track fairly close. If not, they'd be split up a little bit. But I'm talking about, you know, out of the truck, running down, both of them getting struck, and him just going in there, bang, pulling up a tree and sticking it. You know, like you like to see a dog do with confidence. And he did that. And I thought, kind of like what I see here. And when you look back through that dog's pedigree, obviously Shot standing there, right?
Which is the sire.
Yep, and then on the dam side, you know, I don't know a lot of them dogs up front on that female, but when you get in that background on that female, top and bottom, you go back into Mike Dahoney's stock. And Mike Dahoney had a lot of good dogs over the years, tree dogs, track dogs, and so that's the choice I chose. I'm gonna see what happens with that. Pups will be 3/4 and 1/4.
One more cross, you're back purebred.
Yep, as long as you go back to a purebred male.
And you're going to keep a female out of this cross, is that the plan?
My plan is to keep 2 females, eventually end up with 1.
So let me summarize all this. The male dog you bred Jolene to is a dog named Cut.
Yeah.
He's an X-bred.
Yeah.
He's half walker, and you know the breeding kind of far back behind that female, and you like it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's half red bone, and the half red bone is Indiana's Freak Shot.
That is correct.
Which is your favorite red bone male, would you say?
I'll say from a young dog perspective up till, you know, I didn't get to hunt Shot no more until he was gone. I'm gonna tell him he was a pretty nice one. He's one of my top picks. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now if I didn't have him in there.
So you made the cross because you like Shot, Indiana's Freak Shot, and you're doubling up on Shot, breeding Cut to Jolene.
Yep.
And you also like Cut's traits. That's another thing. You're big on traits, seeing the way that a dog operates in the woods.
Yep.
When you make this cross, you're going to keep a female, and that female is going to be 3/4 and 1/4.
Yep.
One more cross, so to a purebred red bone male,
Yep.
the pups will be 7/8 and 1/8, and then you're back purebred. Now that all that's summarized, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yep.
Are there, and I know this is in the future because you haven't had the pups yet, but I know you've had to think about it. Are there any males, whether it be straws or maybe males that are alive today, what male dogs have you considered potentially breeding to that female to come back purebred?
Well, I mean, Broke's not off the table. Tony's young dog wouldn't be off the table.
Which young dog you talking about?
The Josie dog.
Got you, that one American Red Bone days. Okay.
I mean, there's other dogs out there I've hunted with. Mike's got a young dog over there right now that I like. His name's Scooter. That's off of Reba and Ricochet Red. He's pretty confident little pup. I mean, I like what I saw out of him, you know. You cut him loose, he's gonna fire in there and get his mouth open. He's gonna take a track one way and load up the tree and stay there. And he's young. You know, I like those type of dogs. I like to see that confidence in a dog to do that. And he's doing that with other dogs on the ground. You know, I mean, I'm trying to think of some other dogs that I've hunted with and stuff like that. But I mean, you know, there's other dogs out there. Right now they're kind of coming to my mind. I'm just thinking of dogs that, you know, they win. A lot of people will probably ask the question, why didn't I go on a crosser to something like Broke or, you know, Gambler before he died or something like that. And, you know, it's not personal. I want to make a cross for me. This cross that I'm making right now, if it works out, I feel like it's got to be on both sides. I feel like, you know, what I've got out of Jolene, part of her shot, the other part of her's outcrossed in the red bone world with other dogs. And if I was to cross Jolene on something else, we're open on both sides. We ain't got line breeding. You know, and Tony's line of dogs would be line breeding. So I don't know how much of it you'd see that she's going to throw over on it. You know, there's nothing line bred behind her. She's open. She's as open as she can be, top and bottom.
Yeah.
And so,
now you've kind of moved away from what male dog you would breed her pup to come back purebred back to now you're kind of, it's like you've went into the future of what are you going to breed Jolene to later.
Yeah.
So you made that transition, so let's sit there for a moment. Have you completely made your mind up if you're going to breed her to Big Red, Wade's Big Red?
Yeah, we're going to make that happen.
That's going to happen. So you're planning on breeding Jolene a handful more times, correct?
I will say that she's probably got, for me, 4 is the number if she can handle it.
So right now she's on 2.
Yeah.
So Wade's Big Red would be the next.
Yeah.
So what you were just talking about is maybe potentially some other males that you might would breed her to.
That's down the road.
Has to be down the road, yeah.
Now, you're thinking way ahead of time because you put an emphasis on breeding good females and you believe you have a good female. So you're trying to plan ahead and make the right decisions to make a positive impact on the breed. Would that be
As long as
correct?
she can handle it and I'm not going to, mess her up where I can't hunt her before she needs to be retired, that's one part in it. But, I probably won't breed her over 4 times, but, this is number 2. Hopefully it goes well. Hopefully nothing happens to where we can get her the 3rd time. You can't count your chickens before they're hatched, but,
So if you can breed her again, you made the decision to go to Wade's Big Red.
Yeah.
So what went into that decision?
well, so, you look at what Wade's done, his line goes right back to Big Red. All the dogs he's got travels right back to it. And, right now, Wade don't have to go back to it. He's moving forward with it. And, there's some semen out there. You can't negate, what he's accomplished and what some of these dogs are doing. So my mind is, why not go back to the well, put it on another side, put it with another line of dogs and see what it does. He's been dead quite some time.
Right here you're talking about genetics. Well, let's switch to traits. So what traits did Big Red have that you like, that you'd want to tap into as Jolene?
I've heard that, he had a good mouth, high drive, good strike, very active, good tree dog, he has a style that, in my opinion is more your walker style from what I've understood from Wade and talking to him. Jolene's got a little bit of that style to her. I like those type of dogs.
You like a dog that's running the catch and looking to get treed?
Yeah, I want one that's going to be active. I don't want to have to go out there and wonder if it's going to get treated. I want to know it's going to get treated. A lot of people, they probably don't like that as much, but for me, in the area that I hunt, primarily what I draw is a walker dog. And, I want to compete. I want one that's going to go out there and hustle and do just the same as what they are, regardless of the color of their coat.
So you'll go to National Red Bone Days, maybe other breed days, enjoy the fellowship and go hunting and everything, but really your standard is you need to be able to beat the dogs that you're going to draw all year long right here at your house.
Why not?
And the majority of them are high-powered walker dogs, so you got to breed to compete against them.
Yeah.
I like to back up just a little bit.
Go ahead.
When we was talking about breeding Jolene to her first litter of pups, and sit here and talked a little about the 2 male dogs here that looks like maybe they're gonna make nice dogs, independent dogs, and the reason why I was asking Brent why he switched, why we didn't go back to that male dog again for the future. Breeding to another male dog, hoping to get a couple females here, so maybe 4 or 5 years from now, got a nice female to breed to, or we got a nice stud dog. If you went back to the same male dog, you still got that same dog, By switching to a male dog, you got, even though Jolene's a mother of both the pups, but you still have her, which is this nice, super nice, outstanding dog, big time mouth, go get struck, get treated. But you're going to, like Brent said, keep a couple of females out of that litter to have for the future, to where we would have, where Brent would have females to breed to, and now we hope we got a stud dog too 4 years from now, you know. Like these dogs, these first pups won't be 2 years old, 10th of October. They still got a lot to prove, you know, if they will help the red bone breed. So you can't jump away from that male dog and go to another male dog, hoping that you'll get a pup that better or just as good or whatever. But now you keeping a couple of females out of this next litter, you've got an opportunity to have a real nice bred female here, raise pups out of, and a stud dog also to use on other females.
So what you're explaining is known as genetic diversity. An example of that would be if there's a litter that is producing really good dogs and you're not sure, you want a couple of pups, you're not sure what male dog you want a pup out of, well, you get one out of two different male dogs, because then later you can make cousin crosses, uncle and niece, nephew and aunt crosses, so you're not putting all your eggs in one basket, and you're able to make crosses in the future.
Right.
Like what you were talking about earlier, Brent, doubling up on the dogs that you like. It gives you that opportunity. So yeah, I get exactly what you're saying.
See, you can get a female out of this next litter and keep her, you know, and this young dog, we got one of these two young dogs here now, you can collect him, you know, and breed to a female out of this, maybe the next female for the future, you know.
You're looking out for the future of the breeding program.
The independent stuff going with, still just walking down the same path. You got two different paths to walk down now to make things, try to make things better.
Yep, and later in the future you can bring it back together.
There you go.
Whereas if you just keep breeding the same male dog, even if that male-female cross works really well, you don't have any genetic diversity, you can't cross back into it,
right?
And you're just dead in the water. Yeah, when those dogs die out, it's over. So you're looking out for the future of the kennel by breeding the different male dogs, is the point you're making.
You're having two different lines here.
All right, Brent, I got a question for you. What piece of advice would you give to a new competition hunter?
Get a dog before all the equipment. Get a good one. Spend the money on the dog and hold off on the equipment. Just get bare necessities. Don't buy all the expensive stuff, because if you buy all your expensive stuff and you ain't got a dog, you ain't got nothing.
So you'd say it'd be better to have an old Astro 220 Garmin and a Coon dog than just a decent dog but have all the new fancy equipment. And you would say it's a much better decision to get a good solid Coon dog than try to train a pup. For sure.
100%.
100%. We talked a lot about the tradition in y'all's family with red bones, what Jolene goes back to, what Mo goes back to, and what you've seen in those dogs. And I know this is kind of a tough question for you because you've already outcrossed, so you've tapped into several good red bone lines. But I'm gonna ask you the same question that I ask everybody else that's on the Coon Dog Talking Hunt series, and that is, if you had to go to a completely different line, where would you go?
In red bones?
In red bones. It had nothing to do, with Jolene or Mo. You're going outside of the dogs that are behind them. What are you going to?
Right now, I'll just based off of what's going on, I'd probably have to go something off of weight stock. Probably be Pow or Goat or Ash or something.
So what in those dogs do you see that you like?
Well, it doesn't matter which one of those dogs it is. They're all showing that they're doing some winning, and it doesn't matter where they're winning at. They're not just up north where Wade's at. I got Goat down here in Kentucky that's not too far away. I'm not sure where Ash is at, but there's several of those dogs, that are doing stuff. Why would you think any less of them, I guess is what I'm going to say. There's nothing wrong with Broke. There's nothing wrong with the other dogs that are doing winning. It's not that. It's just right now I'm seeing multiple dogs going back to one line that was started that's showing up, and they're all relatively the same age.
Yeah. Competing to So you're seeing multiple dogs all around the same age, going back the same line, and they're competing all over the place. That's what you're seeing. Are there any specific traits that you see in those dogs that you like?
I can't tell you that. I have not hunted with them. All I've done is heard hearsay. But I know the dogs move pretty well. They're split treeing. They're being some independent dogs. And they're doing the active stuff it takes to win in a cast.
Gotcha. All right. Well, are you ready to go coon hunting, Brent?
I am.
Let's go turn old fat pregnant girl loose and see if you tree coon.
Let's do it.
I'm glad it's done. I've enjoyed it. Now, on that last question, if I was answering it, which don't need to, there's two individuals I know that competition hunts that I would call if I wanted to get a pup, and it wouldn't mean what type of line they have or anything. That would be Jeff Murphy and Kim Jones.
Yeah.
Because they handle good stuff, you know, and they were going to tell you the truth.
But right now, what's live and what's really out there clicking in terms of
yeah,
the dogs that I mentioned and going back into Wade's line of dogs, name something else that's doing it.
right.
That's got more than one that goes back to the same thing, you know?
I know what you're saying, what you're meaning there, but
So basically, Brent, you're identifying the dogs, and you're identifying the people. Like those are people that you know and trust that you would contact and, and get their opinion.
yes, Jeff Murphy's they gonna feed you a line of crap. He's gonna tell you what line of dog, what kind of dog it is, how he operates, you know. And Kim Jones, same way.
Yep.
Missouri.
I agree with that.
And them two, they know them dogs, where they're at, what they're doing, how they're doing, you know. Brent does too, but myself, I'd have to rely on one of those two guys. There's handlers out here that has dogs that goes to red bone days, American red bone days, national red bone days, US red bone days, that I would not call.
Right.
Because they stick to their stuff, you know, and believe in their stuff, which is a good thing. But
Yeah.
Kim Jones and
You're looking for unbiased opinions.
Kim Jones and Jeff Murphy, whatever they are, wherever they're out of, they'll tell you what they are and the kind of dog they are, you know.
They are definitely two on.
I never stopped recording, by the way. You gonna let me leave all that in?
Oh, I'm curious. Yeah, I mean,
Good stuff.
You know, I'm not. You're 100% spot on. I'm great friends
two
with
guys I
Jeff.
know the red bone breed that knows the line of the dogs and will tell you the truth about the dog. And I go buy a pup out of a female that one of those two guys sent me in that direction.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't travel that much, go a lot of hunts to know what dogs are doing myself, and
Look at that.
but they got a good line of dogs, and they know.
You ready to go?
And honest, two honest guys.
Ready to hunt, Brent?
Yeah.
Let's go hunting.
Show them my spider. That was my headlamp hitting there.
Oh my. Would you slam on brakes?
No, run into a stump with the front car and it slammed. I wasn't driving fast, I was just creeping along, but I was looking like this trying to get out of the bushes from this side, and the headlamp hit that right there. Man, busted.
So where are we taking Jolene tonight? What kind of woods is she gonna hunt? We edge hunt? What's going on, Brent?
We're gonna dump her above the river.
Dump her above the river.
Yeah, I got some, well, I mean, it all leads to the river, but there's probably, it's not quite, I'd say a little over a quarter of a mile to the river, the bottoms, and this is just elevated off in bottoms just a little bit. We're gonna shoot her at the river and try to get a tree done in there, and then we'll.
Does she usually get treed by the time she gets to the river?
That all depends on how they're moving.
Okay, so if they're really not moving and she makes it all the way to the river without getting treed, does she usually run
likely she'll be in the water if she don't get struck before then.
If she does cross the river, do we got a way to drive around there to her?
We do. We do.
That's nice to know.
It all depends on,
I didn't bring my swimming trunks.
it all depends on which one's the shorter distance, but yeah, one way or the other we can get across.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it, Brent.
Yeah, buddy.
'25 National Redbone Days overall winner. A&W's Rough Cut Jolene, owned by Brent Weatherford. She's fat, she's pregnant, about 15 pounds overweight. But Brent, do you think she can still tree a raccoon?
Oh yeah, it may not sound the same, but
We're gonna try it, ain't we?
yeah, we're gonna see what happens. So we don't get down to the lead.
Observation number 1. She's not afraid of the dark. She'll go hunting, won't she, Brent?
You better. We're doing it.
What's she doing?
There's a little dog leg to the right there, and then it hits a little holler, it runs out. She's over there, right around the edge of that field.
How far is she?
154 way the crow flies.
Okay, she's
At an angle.
I don't know if I see the garment.
I don't know if I'm helping you or hurting you.
Yep, she's running that, burning that edge right there. Looks like she's firing back into the woods now.
Yeah.
Coon's been moving a little late here, hasn't he?
This past week they have. Been better hunting after midnight than early.
Got a full moon. Where's the moon? I don't see the moon.
Be right back to you there. Where you looking?
Full moon night. Brent, it's an absolute must you have one that'll stay busy, huh?
I don't want them at my feet. I don't want to see them. Obviously, you get that with pups until you get them going, but I don't like lazy dogs. I've had some. I don't like it.
Pull them off a tree somewhere.
Unless I have to cut them off. Down here where I live at, it's starting to get rough to have an area where they can really travel. You know, dog go hunting, it's starting to get cut up pretty bad. A lot of your older dogs in some of your spots, or for me, they end up being one dumps. You know, like you're hunting a pup, but for a pup you can make 2 or 3 drops out of it possibly, but there she is.
Yep, she struck.
I'm closer to the river.
From the river.
She's just above it. She's headed right at it.
Maybe she'll get treed before she hits the water. She's about to come treat, ain't she?
She's hitting up. Move right.
Brent, she sounds like a male dog.
I wish you could hear her with a little bit less weight off of her. It's a little bit better, believe it or not.
She's for sure got a mouth on her.
You went the opposite direction I thought you'd go. Right now she's in the bottom. So let's go straight out, and then it's probably I don't know, 50, 65 yards to the bottom. Maybe 100 in some spot. Drops off into the river bottom.
Is that a pretty good track she's on, you think? Or is it an older track?
It's a working track for sure. I don't mean it ain't nothing hot.
I think that's probably a daytime coon.
No. She's right there in the bend of that river. It can be a little rough. There's a big den tree down there at the bottom of it. She's literally like, and the way the sound is carrying off of that, it makes it sound like she's over here. But if we walk straight through right now, she's literally right there.
It's echoing down there in that bottom.
She's right on the river.
There she was. She's probably wet. So earlier when I thought she may be locating, you could tell she wasn't really committed to that spot, couldn't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she'll hit. And, I've had her just blow up trees. Obviously, anybody has a dog that'll blow up tree just because it's hot and up or whatever. But if she's working a track, and it hits up, she'll give you a little bit on it. And when she comes back, if she hits it 2 or 3 times and goes quiet and checks, and she comes back, there's one distinct tail off in there that she'll let out, and you can pretty much put her on a paper on that. She may ball around 2 or 3 more times, but
she's sticking.
Mm-hmm. Across the river.
Really?
Yeah. She's right there. Let's see.
How wide's that river?
In places from here to that fence row where you're shining your light, maybe a little wider in other places, but
we call that creek back on, Brent.
Yeah. It's Blue River.
Small river.
Mm-hmm. She's going right down it right now.
She ain't afraid to move around, is she?
Nope.
You don't really have any problems with her standing on her head, do you?
Mm-mm. Trying to determine which way she keeps going that way. We'll go down around this cow pasture.
That sound don't get old, does it, Brent?
No. Just last to that frustration there for whatever reason. Last 2 times I come up here, I didn't hunt this last week. The week before last I hunted it twice. I hunted it on a Sunday and a Thursday. She never got over that break to the river and was treed.
They just kind of shut down a little bit this past week.
That moon right there, they're just pushed back. They'll move after midnight. About another week and a half, it'll go back good hunting for the working man.
Yeah. I'm from in Alabama. Sometimes during the summer when the coons, are moving real late.
Yeah.
I'll wake up early in the morning and go. I'll cut loose like at 3 in the morning.
Yeah. I've never really got into that. I did a few times with her when I was getting her good and started, just so that imprint, just keep it going, But then after that's over with, you are the devil.
Why are you laughing?
She knows where she's at.
You're gonna have to elaborate.
One of the last coons we treed, week before last, run just like that, where she's at right now. Sal was over here and Kittens was over there. She ain't too far from it. That fog sitting in on that bottom over there.
Yeah. That's where she's at.
She just left of it a little bit, but yeah, it's all the same bottom. This right hand where she's at over in here has been timbered. She's not in it yet, but if she goes right-handed, she'll be in it. She's 733 right now. Depending on how bad that river's up, will depend on how much walking we get.
I'm used to tough hunting, don't worry about me. I got a Red Bull in me too, I can do anything.
I can't stand them things.
That's probably a good thing. What do you think's going on, Brent?
I don't know. She's went a long ways after them last couple locates there. I'd say that was the end of that.
She moved off of it?
Yeah, she was right in here when she throwed them last couple locates with that little spot is right there. I'd say that that's right there off that bend.
Why do you think she moved out of there?
Went in the ground.
Oh, Coon went in the ground?
Yeah. Whatever she's running went in the ground. I'd hope it's a coon. I don't know what else would have run like what that did. She's coming back into a good woods though.
So you have broke her from treeing in the ground, correct?
It had to. She got me in trouble.
Is that fairly common around these parts for a coon to go in a hole?
On the river it can be, yeah, around here. I mean, but you know, whatever else lives in the river goes in under root wads as well, but they don't usually run like that.
How far is she now? There she struck.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a different track that she struck on.
As far as I'm concerned, it is. I wouldn't say that in a hunt. Let her roll.
Well, you're not trying to win a hunt right now.
No.
This is for educational and entertainment purposes.
Well, I'll try to see if I can't help with entertainment then.
How do you like that new antenna you bought?
So far, not too bad.
You know who makes that antenna?
No, sir. I don't know what that brand is, but it says,
Did it come with a quick connect, or did you already have that?
I already had the quick connect, but 150 dash 160, I believe is what it says, MH.
How far is she, Brent?
8 something. She circled in, she's 791 right now.
So about 800 yards.
Yeah.
Her mouth carries very well.
Eagle man here. She's a hitting there.
Say that one more time.
She's hitting up there.
Yeah, I was picking up on that. You think that's another older track?
I think she just circled back. Where she's at. I would move closer right now, but it all depends on what she does right here, based off what our best area to get to her is. That one right there should put her on it.
Do what?
That should put her on it. That one that you heard her tail off one. Normally, she tails off like that, she just rolls that right over, but I'd say she might be just a little winded, I don't know.
She treeing right there?
She's bawling on it.
I mean, she locating?
She's just blowing on it.
If we was in a comp hunt, would you tree her right there?
No, not right now, not the shape she's in, but like I'm saying, typically where she come back on it there and you heard her tail off with that one like walk kind of, you know, typically you can put her on a paper, but
so you're saying she's a little harder to call when she's out of shape. Operates a little different.
I don't know what to say right now. We're wasting a drive. You hear that?
Oh yeah. Tree Jolene. How close can we get to her on the side by side?
Probably within about 400, maybe a little less.
Well, ain't too bad.
No.
Whoa.
I don't feel like flipping a side by side tonight. You know what I mean?
You just want to walk from here?
Yeah.
So how far is she from where we're at, Brent?
Right now, I'll get this water bottle in here for her.
Now if we stop and listen for a moment. She's knocking.
We are 459. Trail with it. You can normally cross side by side, but that ain't looking good. That's deep over there, I know that. We need to go right over there. Yeah. We're gonna have to go get back side by side. Relocate. We're gonna be up over waders. Oh.
It's slick, ain't it?
Get low. Alright. Relocate.
Jolene's the nicest female you've ever owned?
Yeah. I've had 3. That's all I've had. Let's see, I had Hope, and then I had Gracie, and Jolene. Jolene's the best of the 3.
So you've only had 3 females. What made you transition from male dogs to female dogs?
Probably just because learning and watching other guys, older guys, you know, I got to believing, and I still believe it now, that your female puts more into it than your male does. And right or wrong, there's a debate on that. For me, I know what side I'm on. I'll take the female over the male. But I do think it takes both. But just my opinion.
Would another reason potentially be that if you have a male, you can't just breed any female you want, but if you have the female, you have the option to go into any stud? Would that be another reason?
Yeah, you got more options for sure. I mean, unfortunately for all the men before me that's had all these good red-bone males, one of the problems that they've had is getting females to come to them. Most usually they're breeding their own females, so, you know, that can be a downfall.
So how close are we to Jolene now, Brent?
Probably about, that's what I figured. Yep, we're going around the other way. We're 940 from her here. But we are on the other side of the river.
Well, that river being up really cramped our style, didn't it?
A little bit. I knew it would be, but I didn't know if she would or not. But I told you before we left, she likes the water. There was probably a lot of over barking on that water. If I had to take a guess. I think I can hear her from right here.
How far is she?
A ways.
Over a mile?
I'm out of question mark at 1.3. But I gotta get worried about my old girl getting fat and hot. Don't need her stroking out. You know what I mean?
Brent, have you ever had a dog heat stroke?
One. Yeah.
Did that dog ever recover completely?
Yeah. She was young.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of times they don't. She's been treated about a half hour now, hasn't she?
Probably.
I think actually a little over a half hour.
Throat got washed, boy. Look at that.
Rough going. Brent, this GoPro has stabilization, but it ain't got enough for this.
Turn it off. We got some rain. I bet this culvert pipe blows out. How in the world is it not blown out? That's amazing. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I bet she's hotter than a firecracker. She's 840 from here. But it's flat walking. Field walking. Watch her. I station got one. That turtle. He thinks he's in time.
Brent, your out of shape pregnant female's been sitting out there treated about 45 minutes. You starting to get concerned?
I don't like it. But it is what it is. She's pretty tough.
What's the longest she's ever been treed before you got to her?
In a PKC cast up there at Illinois, she was treated for probably an hour. I have to ask Michael. It was way over an hour. We had to drive off from Weaver and drive like 8 miles around the road and then walk about 1,000 yards into her in a flooded bottom.
Well, she was in shape then, wasn't she?
Oh yeah. It was a whole lot cooler weather than this too. I have been running on the treadmill for tread on days. It's cooler out here, obviously tonight, than what it was today. Should be alright.
Brent, how far are we from Jolene now?
3:30. 2 weeks ago we could have drove it really, really close to here.
You'd be afraid about getting stuck right now, huh? She ain't knocking as hard as she was earlier. She's just getting hot. Does she ever chew at all when she gets hot?
A little bit.
I hear she just amped it up a bit.
Good tree for one to be up. What's the matter, Mama? You got him? Hmm? You hot? Come here. Come down. Come here. Come here. Come here.
Big girl worked her tail off.
Drink. Drink.
She's been treated about an hour. Got puppies in her.
Come there. Wild cherry. Right here, dude.
Got him?
Yeah, right there. It's sitting right there. I ain't light up for a minute. Put it off again. You got a red?
I'll go red.
Yeah.
All right. Oh yeah, got him. That looks like a kitten coon, Brent.
I believe probably another one up here. Dude, this grapevine does sweet.
Yep, there's a second one up there. Just seen it.
Good girl. Now drink. 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 Good job. We'll cut Eagle Man loose, Jolene. What do you think? Come here.
As wore out as she is, she'd go again, wouldn't she?
Yep. She ain't smart enough to quit.
You think she's not smart enough to quit, or she's got too much drive to quit? Or is the answer yes?
Yeah. Take it.
Yes.
Take it the good way part of it. She'll go.
Good job, Jolene. This is a good place to be for Big Mama, ain't it?
Fit pretty good.
We're gonna have a question for you.
Come on with it.
So you started Jolene, correct? You've had her since she was a pup? Raised her? How easy or difficult was she to train? Was she more of a natural starter? Did she have track before tree before track? Tell me a little bit about how she was as a puppy.
Didn't have to beg her to go hunting. She went. It didn't matter if you cut her, somewhat by herself young. She'd go, offer to go before she knew what she was doing.
Always had heart.
Yeah, I mean, pups are pups. If you start one, they start busting 300 and 400 yards, not knowing what they're doing, you're gonna be in trouble by the time they're a year old. Because they like covering ground before they like hunting. And she go hunting, she get struck and run something off, and she wasn't afraid of that. She's pretty active. You put her with a dog, she always tried to outdo him for what she could do. And she was definitely tracked before tree. I like pups the other way around.
So are you trying to breed her to dogs with a lot of tree?
The first cross I made, I tried to get tree, and it depended. I know they were lacking in track. I figured she could make up for track. So we'll find out.
This cut, the dog she's bred to now we talked about earlier, does he have a lot of tree?
In terms of a lot of tree, he don't make a lot of slick trees at all. When he makes a tree, he's got a coon. But what I like about him is regardless of what he's with, male, female, 2 dogs, 3 dogs by himself, when he decides to tree, he trees. And it don't affect him. Nothing running around him. You can put pressure on him. And, he'll pull like, her running track this winter. And one of them tracks, she treed off and had a coon. The first one that went up, she tracked on. And he never budged. He was committed when he located. So, a young dog being dominant in terms of what they want to show you at a young age, I like. And doubling up one shot, I like anyway. So we'll find out. It'll either work or it won't.
Yeah, I heard that.
You don't see a lot of confidence, in my opinion. No disrespect to anybody in the breed, but you don't see a lot of confidence in your young red dogs, male or female, to lock it down in front of older dogs. Dogs know each other, they know age,
So let's talk about the confidence just a little bit. And confidence, what you mean by confidence in a young dog is you don't see a lot of young red bones that's just gonna decide, hey, this is where the coon's at, I'm gonna lock it down, I'm not gonna second guess myself, I'm gonna get hooked and stay. You say you don't see a lot of that.
You don't see a lot of it with pressure. When I'm saying you put out there 2 or 3 other dogs, you put a year-old red dog on the ground, and in the past, you very likely would see that dog lock it down over top of older dogs. I've seen more of it in the recent years, but they're still, hard to find.
Yep.
So, that little dog Ricky Vickers is hunting right now, that little Willie dog, I'd say you give him another year.
That's out of your old Mo dog and Wampus Cat Dixie.
Yeah, I'd say you give him another year. He ain't afraid to pull it up and cut it.
So you drew him the other night, and you seen that confidence in that pup.
Yeah, he treed the first coon in the den tree. He just wouldn't look. Heat coming out of it. And he locked down with 2 other dogs. He locked down first. Jolene and the other male, I apologize, I don't know that young boy's name, his dog's name, but him and Jolene was to the left about 50 yards. And he knocked down on that tree because he wanted to be there. 14 months old. First strike, first tree.
You think we need to see more of that in the red bone breed? Young, confident red bones.
I want to. Others may not, but I can say this. If I was a prospect and I was looking to buy, from an outside perspective looking in, which one would you rather buy? That young, confident dog that goes over there and makes that tree in front of two older dogs? Or do you want one that starts slow and comes on at a year and a half old, 2 years old, and 2 years old you're going to him doing that stuff, or a little bit older than 2 years old? Would you rather see like a 14-month-old pup? I know what I'd rather see.
You want the pup that shows what it can do early.
Yep. You got to make mistakes to learn.
You know, something that, I'm sure you'd agree with this, something that Wade Coons pointed out to me, was that when you have those pups that start early, that mature early, it moves your breeding program along faster. If you're seeing out of 1-year-olds what you traditionally would see out of 2-year-olds, you can get 20 years worth of breeding done in 10 years. So,
yeah, I mean, you can play the math out that way. I don't know that I'll ever get that much done, but I mean, if you told me you come in there with a young dog to a cast, and regardless of breed, and it goes in there and locks down in front of 3 other older dogs and has the confidence to do it and stick it and stay like an old dog, why wait on one slower?
right.
So if you find one that's reproducing that kind of stuff, I mean, I guess I'm sitting there, you know, tooting on Mo a little bit. It ain't intentional. I'm just saying I don't care what it is. You know, that young dog I told you earlier that Mike's hunting off of Reba and Ricochet Red. Oh yeah. I don't know what he'll end up doing from all other standpoint, but I can tell you this. He's got one thing on his mind, and it ain't other dogs.
Tree Coon do it right now.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yep. Oh, Galloway, quit whining. Your hormones are wearing me out.
Now tell us what happened tonight, Brent.
Well, we went coon hunting and treated a couple coons. Our first adventure to Knucklehead here ended up being a little bit adventurous with the river being up, but we got in there and found a couple kitten coons. So that's typical her, river up or river not, she's usually going to find the water and cross it.
She likes to swim, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Well, Brent, it was a pleasure hunting with you. I appreciate everything.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. You got a nice hound there. Looking forward to seeing what she produces.
Me too.
A&W's Rough Cut Jolene. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.